200 episodes of Hermitcraft. That is astounding. In total, that is 87.5 hours of time watched by thousands of people from all different parts of this world. We are truly living in the age of the internet, and this is an amazing experience to play a game, to make a video series and share my adventures on this server. I'm excited for the future of this series, as I think there are yet many great things to come, but first of all, thanks are in order. I've said it before and I will say it again, you are as much of what makes this series what it is as what I do, and that is because you have given me a tremendous amount of support and encouragement just by turning up to watch the videos, by leaving likes and comments. You have driven me and the other hermits to do great things in this game. This world is ours to craft, and with your support we go the extra mile. It is no secret that if I wasn't a YouTuber I would not be playing this game on the scale that we are, but that is the difference. I have your continual support to do this, and so I want to thank each and every one of you, and I sincerely hope you will continue to enjoy these videos. So before we jump into this episode's project, I want to say thank you to each and every one of the hermits for being awesome people and making this a great community to be a part of. I've been privileged with being here since day one, and I'm still thrilled to be a part of this group. So to all of you, thank you very much, and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. This is the 200th episode. I have a special project in mind, but first of all I think we should start things off with a fireworks display. So I hope you enjoyed the fireworks display. Unfortunately I don't think I captured that with the best angle from my cameraman, but hopefully you got the idea what was going on. And after I'd done that I decided to dismantle all of the fireworks stuff before I actually explained how it works. So I kind of reconstructed it here for a quick demonstration, but a lot of dispensers went into that, about 220 in total, and all of these had a different firework inside of it and a weighted pressure plate on top of it. Now I was playing on my server a couple of days ago and someone said in the chat, they just said, is anyone here good with redstone and can you help me with something? So I thought, why don't I teleport over and see what they're doing, and they had discovered something and they wasn't sure if it was behaving correctly, but it's a very cool use of these weighted pressure plates with dispensers. So all of these are facing upwards, and what you've got to think is each one of these has a firework inside of it. So when the firework gets powered, it's going to go through the pressure plate. The pressure plate is then going to power this block, which powers the ones either side of it, and so it creates a chain reaction. And what I had done over there is set up a big, group of dispensers going off in all sorts of directions. But this was discovered by Soxhawk, so a big thanks to him, because this is an excellent way to make a firework display. Just get a whole bunch of dispensers, put them in a row, put pressure plates on top of them, and remember these are cheap because we have the iron farm on the server, and then when you set this thing off it's going to set them off all in a chain reaction, which is pretty awesome. So why don't we have a quick look at that. There we go. That is absolutely awesome. And Red Eyes was over here as well, by the way, when I'd done the fireworks display, and we were just talking about how it works and saying that we could possibly do more of these in the future. And fireworks are cool, and most of the ingredients for them are farmable as well. You need sugarcane, you need gunpowder and dyes, and so I think we're going to be doing some fireworks displays in the future. But for right now I'm just going to clean this up. I'm sure you all want to know what the project we're going to be doing this episode is, and we're going to go over to the end and I'm going to explain it when we get over there. So here we are, I've made it safe and sound. We are at the Enderman farm, and these guys are being especially derpy right now. Have a look at this. They're shuffling around and then they're stopping for a second. It looks really strange, and it's because I have a terrible connection to the server at the moment. It causes all of the mobs to freeze every now and then for a split second, which looks really strange. But anyway, let's talk about the project that I want to do this episode. I think you're really going to enjoy this. It's something I haven't seen anyone else do, and I think a lot of you are going to like this, so I should probably explain what it is. So here on the Hermitcraft server, we have the end farm, and because of this we have an excessive amount of ender pearls, because we have these free chests over here that fill up with them. So whenever you come to the end farm, you do your enchanting. On the way out, what you usually do is you fill up your inventory full of ender pearls and then take them back to your base. Now what I think we should be doing is automating this process. We should be eliminating the need to pick up the ender pearls and take them back with you, but have them automatically delivered. So, a while ago, it used to be that you couldn't send items through the end portal. Now this might be normal to most of you, but there was a time when you couldn't do that, and then it was patched and you could send items from the end into the overworld. So what I'm thinking we can do is send these items automatically back to the overworld. We can build an ice stream with water, we can send them up a item elevator and then put them through that portal, which is a pretty cool idea, but I think we should take this thing one step further. Now you might be thinking that what I want to do is build a storage system in the overworld and just have loads of ender pearls there so you don't have to come all the way to the end farm, but what I'm thinking we should do is send those items into the nether and then create a distribution system in the nether to automatically divide the ender pearls up and send them all around the world, which is going to be a hell of a task to do. There's so much that's going to go into this, but that is the general idea. So in the nether, once we've sent the items from here to the overworld and from the overworld to the nether, we'll create this system that then takes those ender pearls and transports them through the nether so you can hook it up to your base. So of course I'm going to be hooking it up to my own base, but we could hook them up to the hermit towns as well, and that means when people are travelling through the nether, then these ender pearls will automatically be transported through there as well. And that is the whole project right there. And there's a lot that's going to go into this, so we need to do things one by one. I'm going to start off by doing a test. I've come all the way down here to the ender farm and realised I haven't set my spawn at the spawn chunks. Now the reason I need to do that is so when I go back through the portal I will be in the spawn chunks, and the first thing I'm going to do is figure out where these items go. So I need to go and set my spawn, and then I'm going to come back here, I'm going to chuck a couple of items through the ender portal and then jump through it and find out where they land in the spawn chunks. Well, this is a really good sight. I am excited because I sent through 3 ender pearls through that end portal and I rushed all the way back here. I haven't even set my spawn yet, although I've got a bed with me, and I think I've got a couple of minutes before these despawn. But I had a sneaky suspicion that they would appear on top of the highest blocks in the Y value of wherever it is it chose them to land. So after looking around on the ground for a bit, I came up here to the top of the iron foundry. I was worrying that it might be above the water, which would make it really difficult to find out where it was, but behold, we have some ender pearls right here, and I threw 3 of them through that end portal, and let's have a look. There's 3 right there, so that is the place where they come through, which is awesome. So what we are going to do is build a little platform a little bit higher up so we're not interfering with the iron foundry, and then here we can put some hoppers and automatically collect those items, and then those hoppers will go into a dispenser which will send them through a nether portal, and that will be the system right there. That is one part of it, and I can't wait to build that actually. I think what I'm going to do is build that bit first of all, because it's going to be a little bit of work to synchronise these nether portals. We've already got one over there, one below this, and now we're going to have one between them, so we've got to make sure we put it in the correct place in the nether. So I think I'm going to do that next, and then we will go back to the end, chuck a few items through and see if we can get them automatically into the nether. Okay, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's throw some ender pearls through here. Of course we could throw any item, but it's good to kind of simulate this. And then throw a few of these through as well, just individually like that, and then we'll hop through here ourselves. And we might be able to see this in action because we're going to spawn on top of the iron trench. And we're right next to it, we can see that it's working. That is fantastic. Let's watch all of those go through. And I've actually used up all of my ender pearls. I needed to keep one to throw down to that portal, but we can just take the ladder over here. And let me say, building this was a nightmare. Now, first of all, the server is horribly laggy. If you have a look at my XP levels, I died. That was in the nether when I was digging around. I fell from the top all the way down to the bottom, but I did manage to get all of my items back. But when I first built this, I put it closer to the middle, and it had some problems with synchronization with the portals. Now there is still a problem at the moment. If you go through the equivalent the equivalent of that portal on the other side you will go to that one. But when items come through from this side, they go to the correct portal on the other side. And I'm thinking at some point in the future what I want to do is join the two together and have it so that on the other side there's one portal for both of those and an item filter, just so we never have any problems with that. But let's go through this portal and have a look on the other side. Should be good news. And there we go. That is great news. We have gotten ender pearls from the end into the nether, which means we can build our distribution system. But of course, first of all, I need to automate the process, so I'm going to have to go back to the end, build the item stream and item elevator so that we can automatically send the ender pearls from the enderman as we're killing them all the way to here in the nether. So construction of this item stream is underway. Let's go and have a look at what I've done. It's actually kind of hard to see because all the endermen, they spawn on the outside and then they fall down into the middle, but it goes all the way down to the end island, which we can actually see from here. It might not show up on your YouTube video because we got a kind of dark purple and then the black of the ender island in the distance. But yeah, this isn't quite as far away as I thought it was, so constructing this was a little bit quicker than I thought it would be. Now what we're going to do is put water in here, and then we're going to have half slabs like this every so often, and then the items will go underneath them and through to the next bit of water, which will be on the other side. And then above this we are going to have glass. Now the reason I want to put glass in is just in case there is ever a problem. That's really going to help locate where the problem is. Now another thing I was thinking of doing was changing out these bottom blocks for glass as well, so you could see the ender pearls going along. But then I had a look from over here and you can barely see the stone bricks as it is. And the other thing to consider is if that was glass, there's going to be another layer of water between you and that glass as well, because it's going to go on top of those stone bricks and it's going to go down the side. So I think it's probably best we leave that. I mean, you'd probably be just about able to make out that the items are going by, but it would be a little bit silly, I think. So we're going to leave it like this. It's going to take me a bit of time because all of these endermen, they're spawning on the sides and they're dropping into the middle. But I have made this going all the way down to the end island, where it then takes a right turn. And the reason that I did that is because I thought it would be best to build the item elevator over on that side. In fact, I'll probably explain that in more detail when I get over there and build it. So it feels like it has taken an unreasonable amount of time to get to this point, but we are almost done now. I thought I would record this last bit and then tidy up and do all the finishing touches in a moment, because there's still a little bit more to be done here. Now the reason that I decided to turn here rather than get to the end and go up was just because we'd be going up and then we would have, you know, another water stream that leads the items over to the end portal. So I thought it would be a lot smarter if we went all the way across to the other side of the end portal, so just around the middle here where the hoppers start. Directly above us is where the end portal is. So we're going to transport the ender pearls up on the other side and then they'll get sent through and it'll look a lot tidier. That'll make a lot more sense when you see it from up above. So this right here is a design by Mumbo Jumbo. I'll put a link to it in the description box if you are interested. This one I felt was right because it's very simple to set up, and if you want something that operates differently from this, there is a lot more redstone and construction involved, so it made it a lot quicker to build and a lot simpler as well. But basically what this one does is it sets off a clock, which is this bit right here, when there's an item in this dropper at the bottom. So when an ender pearl comes through, it's going to set off the clock and push it up to the next dropper, but then it's going to stay there, which is the downside of this design. However, in this case it's not really, because we're going to have loads and loads of ender pearls coming through, and so basically when they've made their way all the way to the top, there's going to be one ender pearl in each dropper. So if you were trying to transport an item upwards, like you wanted to chuck one item in and then go to the top and grab it, then this wouldn't be ideal. But since we're sending items up automatically and they're in bulk, this is actually pretty good, and I'm really glad I chose this design because it was very easy to construct. You know, you had to pillar up once with the droppers and then pillar up with some torches and blocks on the side, which made things really easy. But I think we should go up to the top and have a look from up there. So on the way up here I heard the Enderman sound, and as I left this place I got killed so I had to go and get my items back, and I just heard the Enderman sound again. I don't know what's going on because I'm not even looking at any Enderman, but I can hear them getting aggressive. It's kind of annoying, but anyway, this should make a lot more sense now that you can see it. The items are going to be dispensed from this side over here, so obviously I need to finish this up. We're going to put a couple of blocks of ice in front of this so the items will come out of the dropper and then roll off into the end portal, but it's on the opposite side from where you enter, which will be over on this side, so it's a little bit cleaner by having it like that. Now we do need to tidy this up. This has been unfinished for way too long. I don't have time to do that this episode, but that is one thing that we have to come back here and do at some point. So this project so far has been pretty simple, but now we're going to get to the more complicated stuff and the stuff that I am looking really forward to. Now, right now we've got a few decisions to make, and what I like about this project is that everything is kind of modular. You know, we've done things a step at a time, and depending on how far we can go with this, because remember, things might not work as we expect, everything before it works, so we can get the ender pearls into the nether, which is a good thing. So the next thing that we're going to do is build a storage area for the ender pearls. Now what I want to do is have like a buffer where there's about 3 or 4 chests that can fill up with ender pearls, and then once they're full up, then the rest of them that come through will be passed on to the distribution system. So if the distribution system fails, you know, I can't get it to work, it is just an idea that I'm trying to put into practice, then we have that to fall back on, which is still something very good. So I'm thinking about where are we going to put this and how is it going to fit in. Well, at the moment you can see that these portals are starting to take up a fair bit of space, and so will these chests and other things that are going into this. So what I'm thinking is we should actually probably go down a couple of levels. Now I know there's a big open area under here somewhere, but if we start building at this height around here and putting in all of our hoppers and other things that are going to go into this, then it should be that you can cover it up at this height. So we're not going to go any higher than that. And the reason for that is because there are all sorts of portals all over the place. You know, the nether hub is still being built, and when that is finished there will be tunnels going to place to all these different portals. And so if we build this down low now, then we're not going to interfere with anyone's path to a portal later on. In fact, I might even go a couple of blocks lower. So we'll start off with the storage room. I think what I'm going to do is bring these out a little bit further and have it somewhere down there, and then we can just have a staircase that leads down to that. So whenever you want to pick up ender pearls and you're in the nether, just go down a staircase into a little storage room, and then when we branch off from that, all of those other things that are going to go into this, which I haven't really explained yet, I'll get to explain that shortly, they'll be underneath this level, which is a good thing. We're looking ahead because, as I said, there's going to be lots of stuff, tunnels and things like that going on in the nether. So this isn't a work of art. I have just built something with the materials available to me. It looks presentable, but I don't really have the time to do anything fancy here. We can go down below and we can open these chests, which are going to be filled up with ender pearls soon. And I thought we were going to be doing something a little bit complicated here, like have a comparator to detect how many items are in the chests, and then to stop the items coming into the chest when they reach a certain point. And as I started to build that, I just realised how incredibly simple this was. We just have some hoppers here that go over the top of the ones down below. Those ones point into the chest, so when items come through, the hoppers below take them out of the ones above. And then when the ones below are full up, then the items are just going to pass on by, which is really simple. And then those hoppers go underneath here, they go underneath these stairs, and they come over to this bit right here. So you may notice that I put some blocks behind this portal. That's because in the future, you know, this area will probably get cleaned up, and you'll be able to go down a corridor which will be on this side, and then everything back here will probably be out of sight. So alongside this portal we're going to have an entrance way to get down to those chests, and then we might have another entrance way to another room which is going to go here. And I think it's probably better that I just start working on this and get to a point where I'm happy with explaining what part comes after this bit. So thanks to some of the more technical details of this game, I do believe I've just made a couple of big mistakes in a row. So this block over here and that block over there represent where we're standing inside of a chunk, and if we have a look here, the portal is inside this chunk. So previously we had our items going over to the left. You can see that I've moved the storage area over to the right hand side here. Now my thinking was, as soon as those items come through the portal, they're going to go that side, and that chunk is technically loaded, but the items aren't going to get processed. So if you didn't know, when an item goes through a portal, it loads chunks in a 5x5 area, meaning the chunk that the portal is in, the entities will get processed, i.e. the item, but not in the other ones around them. Now after moving all of this stuff over to this side, I then realised that this portal is in the chunk on this side where we were going to build, and this is the one for the iron golem farm, and that is going to send through items every 30 seconds, I do believe. So it means that this is constantly loaded, which would be slightly better than using this chunk, because when an item comes through from the other side, it's going to load those chunks for 30 seconds, I do believe. So the way we can look at this now is that when an item comes through, it's got 30 seconds to be processed and then sent off to wherever it's going, which I think is actually going to be fine. It will probably get processed in a lot less than that, about 10 seconds at the most. So let me explain what is going on over here. So like before, we have the hoppers underneath and then chests underneath there. So the ender pearls are going to go into that, and when that's full up, they will then pass on into this dropper. Now this, I just needed to raise it one block because the floor of the ceiling is at this height, and if we were to have it lowered one down like I built it a moment ago, it would mean just so much more construction in the nether. We'd have to go down by one block, and there's nothing below that, and you can imagine how much of a pain that would be. So a simple clock here to send the items up into the hopper above, and then they're going to go over here. Now this is our item divider. This should be fairly simple to understand. What's going to happen is the items are going to go through, and they're going to go all the way down to the end here. So as they make their way through, let's get a closer look. They're going to be going through the hoppers one by one, and when there's one in this end one, there will probably be one behind it, one in that one in that one, and then it's going to activate this comparator. So this redstone here is going to turn off, and then the hoppers below will take the items from the one above and put them into these droppers at the bottom. And that is where the next part of this absolutely epic project, it really is epic, and it could fail because we're going to run into some problems in a minute, as you will see. But when they go into these droppers, we're going to have clocks underneath here to activate them when they have items in, and that's when we can send the ender pearls off to different places in the world, or the nether, and then into the overworld through portals again. So this is where things get a little bit tricky, and I've decided that I'm only going to hook myself up to this thing for now and see how that works. I was going to do a couple more locations as well, but I've since realised I've made a mistake with some of my ideas, and it's going to be a lot harder to construct this than I thought it would. But before we get to the next part, because again it's modular, now we've done the part where we divide up the ender pearls, we're going to build the part that transports them across the nether back to my area. And before we do that, we want to get some ender pearls down here. So I think I'm going to go to the enderman farm and do some AFK just standing there basically, because we can put them in kill mode, so when the endermen drop, the ender pearls will just drop down. And we need enough to fill up these chests here, so it's going to take quite some time, and then once those ones are filled up, they're going to be going into this area here. So when we come back, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. What I expect is either the chests here haven't filled up enough, or they would have gone into this area over here and it'll probably be overflowing or something like that. But I guess we're going to have to find out in a moment. Well, this is a good site. We know that this is working. On my way up here, I could see all of these lights down here flashing as well, which is good. And I've been standing there for quite some time. I actually forgot about it, so hopefully... And you can just about see the edge of it there as well. It really isn't that far away from the main island. But hopefully we've got enough of them back to go and test and see if this works. So I decided to wait in the end a little bit longer till all the items had gone through, and when I came through on this side, they've finished going through the portal, which is good, so we can hop down and go through there. Now the reason that I decided to wait on the other side is because I was thinking about it, and when we're standing over at the end, maybe all of the items don't make their way over to where the item elevator is. There we go, struggling to get the words together. So they stay in unloaded chunks, and then when we load the chunks, there's loads of them all grouped up together, and then they go through. So it'll be interesting to see how many get through. And I actually removed a couple of the chests just so there'd be less, and we're a bit laggy at the moment. Oh, and it does this sometimes. Each time you go through the portal, it then throws you back a moment later. But I removed 4 of the chests, so there are a lot less here, and that is not a good sign actually. That is hardly any ender pearls that made their way through. And I definitely saw quite a few going through, more than that, that's to say. Let's see if any of them made their way over to here. That's flashing, it's not this thing, that's good to see. That is actually a really bad sign right now. There is something wrong here that I've overlooked. We need to find out what that is, because definitely more ender pearls than that went through, I'm sure of it. So they must be getting stuck somewhere. Let's break this and have a look. We have... Oh, no, I'm throwing an ender pearl into it. Okay, that's full. That's interesting. So's that. Maybe they're still coming in. Yeah, they're still filtering in. Okay, that's interesting. Are there... Look, there's loads of them right there. So none of this gets loaded and processed. Oh, that's not good. That is not good. I'm not sure what the implementation, I can't even say that word. I know you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I need to think about that for a bit because these minecarts should be picking them up. That is strange. Just realised I had my sound off from where I was AFKing, and now I'm a little bit confused because here's what I'm thinking. These minecarts, maybe they're causing a problem. They don't cause a problem with this one over here. And I was thinking maybe these cause a problem because it's not loaded properly, they don't process properly or something. But the thing is, when we came here a moment ago, they were full up. So they must have filled up by collecting all of the ender pearls on top of them. And so I don't really understand how they're full and how they haven't gone through to the chests down here, because these hoppers should work when the chunks are unloaded. I mean, they work... Sorry, unloaded. When they're loaded by the nether portal, they work with this one here. So I am really not sure what's going on. I think what I'm going to do is just go back to the ender farm, try it all over again, and see if I can learn anything this time that I'm doing it. I have got a little bit of a bad feeling at the moment. I have left this running for quite some time, and you can see here, well, it's kind of doing it. The server is really laggy, which is worrying because it's possible that quite a lot of ender pearls have gone through this portal, and they're still going through as well. And what I did, by the way, is I stood in the middle area here so I could see the enderman falling down over there. And so I've stared at one, haven't I? Let's leave quickly. And then this area over here would be loaded as well. So the idea was that they would make their way all the way down to the end here and get transported up. And that is a very good indicator that that worked, because it is now stopped. So a lot of ender pearls would have been sent through. When I left, they would have stopped going through because I was leaving the area. And now we can see the lights have stopped blinking, which is promising. It means that standing in the middle works to get ender pearls anyway. Right, so let's go back through and hope that the server hasn't died. This looks good. If we'd have been a little bit quicker, we probably would have seen some of them coming through here. There's none on the ground as well. I was curious if ever they fall in a different position, but it's always there. So let's ender pearl back down. And I've got a feeling... Oh, I hit the golem on the way. And he shouldn't attack me because he's been spawned with blocks because I put him there. Anyway, let's go through this portal. And now is the moment of truth, I guess. What is going to happen? Are we going to have insane lag? That is insane lag. That's chunks not loading. The game is probably going to crash, isn't it? Oh, this isn't good. That's because we've got probably hundreds and hundreds of ender pearls behind me. Oh! It decided to become okay again. Oh my god, look at how many are there. So I'm getting about 15 frames per second, and we have 660 odd entities there. And you know what, the number is barely going down at all. So if I break these two bits of glass and step here, I'm going to pick a load of those up. And now we have 640 odd. So I picked up about 20 stacks. Okay, so we know what the problem is. Well, actually we still don't, because they're full up. I don't know what's going on. Something strange is definitely going on here. This chest is full up with ender pearls. When I left to do the AFK farming, that wasn't full up with them, but now it is. So how is it that so many of them get stuck here, and yet so few go through the minecart hoppers into the hoppers down below? I don't know. At the moment I'm pretty clueless. So I've done another little experiment here. When the items go through the portal, they are projected, so when they come out the other side, that means they can go into this space right here. So I've modified it so we have hoppers, and guess what? They haven't picked up any of the items. So this is not working how I thought it would. This is actually a really big problem because we need this part right here to be automated. And so at the moment I don't know if there's any way to force that. I thought the hoppers worked in loaded chunks. Well, in the way that these ones are loaded. I don't know what's going on. I need to figure it out. So unfortunately this isn't going to work. I've been talking to various people and I found out that apparently when you send an item through a portal it only loads for a game tick. Now I've done some testing with this. I sent through a lot of pearls and it seems like about 20% of them make their way into these hoppers. Now the hoppers are only being loaded a game tick at a time as well, so it takes an even longer amount of time for them to then make their way through the hopper chain. So very little amount of them actually get through to the chests down here, and most of them end up on top of these hoppers not doing anything, which is why this doesn't work at the moment. Now I find this particularly frustrating because there's a project that I've done in the past based on a piece of information that has been stuck in my head since I heard about it, and it was, I do believe it was in a Simply Sark video. I can't actually find this video, which is really frustrating, But he said, and he didn't just say, he showed as well, when you throw items through a nether portal, the nether stays loaded for 30 seconds. And if that was true, this bit right here would work. Now I even built a project based on this that also worked. I had a portal in the nether, I had a portal in the overworld, they were hooked together, and both of them had hoppers on either side that fed into a dispenser that would then shoot any items that went into it into the portal. So on both sides you got a whole bunch of items being shot back and forth. When items come through, say from the overworld into the nether, they get picked up by the hoppers, fed into the dispenser and shot back into the overworld. And so both in the nether and the overworld I created a command block clock, and that would basically activate every couple of seconds saying the nether is loaded, the overworld is loaded, and wherever I went in the world, both of those chunks in the overworld and the nether would stay loaded. And because of that I thought this project will work, and unfortunately now it doesn't, because for some reason it only loads for a game tick, and I don't know if that's something that's changed or I had it completely wrong and something else was happening, but we kind of come to a standstill now with this project, which is very unfortunate. Now you may have noticed these hoppers here, there's more of them over there. I've tried to create a chunk loader here in the nether, and I think it kind of works. If I were to walk away from this area, it's possible that this would stay loaded because all of these chunks are pointing into each other, but maybe I've got that wrong. I think you actually have to hook this up to chunks that are always loaded, and so when I'm on the other side and all of this is unloaded and I send an item through, then this is only loaded for a game tick, and I don't think it gives it time for all of these hoppers to activate and load the chunk, and even then I don't know if it means it will stay loaded. So I've tried to find a solution, but unfortunately at this point I don't have one. Well, that is the end of that project. Unfortunately, we are going to be unable to continue, which is a shame, but this is the kind of problem you have with these special episodes, which is why I don't do them too often. If you're going to do something special, you've got to think outside the box, try and do something extraordinary, and it doesn't always go to plan, which is really unfortunate, but we have got some positives. Hopefully you have been entertained, that is important. And of course, we now have ender pearls in the nether, which is a good community service. People can grab those when they're going by, and it's all automated, which is good, although I will be keeping my eye on it because it could cause some problems that I haven't thought about. But we have got a lot done this episode, and I was going to do a lot more, but I feel like maybe we should just wrap things up here. We've tried to do something a little bit different. Maybe one of you have a solution. In fact, that's a great thing right there. We are a community. We can help each other out. If anyone has got some ideas on how to make this work, of course you can leave a comment down below. I'll read that, and maybe together we can figure out a solution for this. But that kind of wraps up this special episode. As I said, I hope you have been entertained. That is the most important thing. Unfortunately, our project didn't go to plan today, but that is it. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.